Let me tell you something today that might sting a little, but it just might save your life. Nobody is coming. Not your friends, not your family, not your boss, not your mentor, not even your heroes. Nobody is coming. And you know what? That's not a tragedy. That's a turning point. That's freedom. You've been waiting for the right time, waiting for someone to believe in you, waiting for that call, that email, that breakthrough. You've been hoping that someone will knock on your door, hand you your dream, and say, you deserve this. But life doesn't work that way. If you keep waiting, you'll keep watching others take the life that could have been yours. Let me take you back to when I was at my lowest. I was broke, broken, embarrassed. I remember sitting on the floor of a small room, no heat, no food, just a pile of unpaid bills and excuses. And I was angry at life, at people, at myself. I wanted someone to save me, but no one did. That's when it hit me. Nobody is coming. If my life was going to change, I had to change it. If I wanted to rise, I had to get up myself. And I want to tell you this today with every piece of fire in me. You have what it takes, but only if you stop waiting and start moving. Listen, I know you've been hurt. I know you've been through storms. I know you failed. But guess what? Everybody has. And here's the secret. The people who win, they're not the ones who had it easier. They're the ones who decided to get up anyway. Nobody's going to carry you across that finish line. Nobody's going to build your dream for you. Nobody's going to fight your battles. That's your job. Your family can cheer you on. Your friends can support you. Your mentors can guide you. But the work, the grind, the battle in the dark, when no one is watching, that's all you. Let me ask you, how long are you going to let fear be your boss? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. You've got dreams inside of you that the world needs. Not one day, today. But as long as you're sitting there waiting for someone to hand it to you, you're robbing the world of what only you can give. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need perfect conditions. You need one thing, a decision. A decision to say, enough, enough waiting, enough whining, enough playing small. Nobody is coming, so I'm going to show up for myself. Because if you don't, who will? You think your kids aren't watching? You think your younger self isn't hoping? You think your future isn't begging you to fight? You are the answer you've been waiting for. Let that sink in. There are people out there right now praying for someone to inspire them, help them, lift them. And that someone might just be you. But first, you've got to believe it, you've got to own it, and you've got to work like your life depends on it. Because it does. So what now? What happens after this speech? You go back to your life and everything will look the same unless you change. Don't just feel this message, live it. Don't just clap, commit. That person looks in the mirror and says, I'm the one. I'm the one who's going to break the cycle. I'm the one who's going to rise up. I'm the one who's going to rewrite the story. Because if you don't, who will? You think your kids aren't watching? You think your younger self isn't hoping? You think your future isn't begging you to fight? You are the answer you've been waiting for. Let that sink in. There are people out there right now praying for someone to inspire them, help them, lift them. And that someone might just be you. But first, you've got to believe it. You've got to own it. And you've got to work like your life depends on it. Because it does. So what now? What happens after this speech? You go back to your life and everything will look the same unless you change. Don't just feel this message. Live it. Don't just clap. Commit. Make today the day you stop waiting. Make today the day you get up, show up, and go after it with everything you've got. It won't be easy. You will fall. You will fail. But if you stay in the fight long enough, you'll win. Because nobody is coming, but you are. You are coming for your dream. You are coming for your future. You are coming for everything they said you couldn't have. The rise. Move, fight, build. This is your time. And you don't need anyone to save you, because now you know nobody is coming. And that's the best news you've ever heard. Let that settle in. As uncomfortable as it may feel, it's the truth. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. We live in a world that teaches us to wait. Wait for the perfect moment. Wait for someone to discover us. Wait for approval. Wait for help. But here's the raw, unfiltered truth. No one is going to do it for you. No hero is going to burst through the door and hand you the life you dream about. No magic is going to sweep in and rescue you from the work that needs to be done. Nobody is coming. That means the next move, it's yours. And that move can't be borrowed. It can't be outsourced. It can't be delayed until you feel ready. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. Life rewards those who move even when it's messy, uncertain, and terrifying. Too many people are trapped in the illusion of someday. Someday I'll start the business. Someday I'll lose the weight. Someday I'll speak up. Someday I'll chase the dream. But someday is not a date on the calendar. It's a graveyard of intentions. The longer you wait for someone to choose you, the more you abandon your own power to choose yourself. You may be sitting in a season where you feel unseen. Maybe you've been grinding, pushing, showing up, and still feel like nothing's shifting, and that's okay. But understand this: silence doesn't mean it's not working. Progress isn't always loud. It's in the decision to keep going when nobody claps. It's in waking up and doing the thing when nobody's watching. Because the moment you stop tying your movement to outside validation is the moment you become unstoppable. People might encourage you, sure. A few might even support you. But if you're expecting someone to hand you the discipline, the hunger, the fire to rise, you'll be waiting forever. You've got to light that fire yourself. You've got to be the one who gets tired of your own excuses. You've got to be the one who refuses to be a victim of your circumstances any longer. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's lonely, but it's also necessary, because the people who change their lives are the ones who finally realize it's on me. Everything you want exists beyond your comfort zone. That means your next move is probably the one you're scared to take. It might be the call you don't want to make, the conversation you've been avoiding, the risk you've been too afraid to touch. But there's no breakthrough without boldness. Nobody is coming to make that call for you. Nobody is coming to push you past the fear. That's your work. And if you do it, if you lean in when everything inside you says to run, you'll discover the version of yourself that you've been waiting to meet. You don't need 100 opportunities. You need one decision, one shift in mindset, one moment of courage. And that moment isn't out there. It's inside you right now, waiting for permission to rise. The question is, are you going to keep waiting, or are you going to take the shot? If you don't take the shot, someone else will. Life doesn't hand success to the most deserving. It hands it to the most determined. The ones who act, the ones who dare, the ones who stop waiting for the green light and realize they've been holding the keys the whole time. Nobody is coming. That's not a curse. It's a call to rise, a call to move. It's easy to believe that the solution to our problems, the breakthrough we're praying for, the opportunity we're chasing, all of it lies somewhere outside of us. We're taught to look outward, to believe that someone else will see our value, someone else will open the door, someone else will lead the way. But the truth is, the power you've been searching for has always lived within you. You don't need to be saved, discovered, or chosen. You need to realize that the person you've been hoping would come fix it is you. Every time you doubt your worth, every time you silence your voice, every time you shrink to fit someone else's idea of enough, you forget that you were never meant to be rescued. You were meant to rise. You were born with the tools, the instinct, the vision, but you've been conditioned to question it, conditioned to second guess your gut, conditioned to believe that someone out there has the authority to tell you when it's your turn. No, this is your turn. Your permission slip was written the day you were born. The answers won't come from scrolling through other people's lives. They won't come from comparing your timeline to theirs. They won't come from sitting on the sidelines cheering for everyone else while you stay stuck in your own mind. You've already got what it takes, but it only shows up when you decide to stop hiding and start leading. You've been waiting for clarity, but clarity comes from movement. You've been waiting for motivation, but motivation comes from showing up. You've been waiting for someone to give you confidence, but confidence is something you build by doing hard things and surviving them. You want to become unstoppable? Start by trusting yourself. Trust the inner voice that says, there's more for me. Trust the fire that keeps burning even when the world tries to pour water on it. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're powerful, but you've got to believe it before anyone else will. You've got to walk like it, talk like it, move like it, not arrogance, ownership, not ego, responsibility. Because the day you stop begging for approval is the day you start operating with purpose. There's a version of you that the world hasn't seen yet. A version that's bold, unshaken, but that version doesn't appear when everything is easy. That version shows up when you're in the fire and refuse to fold. It shows up when you fail and get back up without asking for permission. It shows up when you stop waiting for life to be fair and start playing the hand you were dealt with power. You are the answer. You are the change agent. You are the leader your younger self needed. You are the opportunity your future self is counting on. Everything begins with you. Not them, not someday, not somehow. Right now, in this moment, it begins with you. Deciding to stop shrinking, to stop apologizing for existing, to stop waiting to feel worthy, and to start acting like you already are. You may not have the perfect background. You may not have all the resources. But what you do have is enough. Your experience, your pain, your resilience, that's your foundation. Your vision, your hunger, your fight, that's your fuel. What more are you waiting for? The doors you're hoping someone will open? Maybe they were never locked. Maybe they're waiting for you to stop knocking and start kicking them down. There comes a moment when waiting becomes a habit, not a strategy. A moment when the excuses feel so natural, they sound like truth. You tell yourself you're not ready yet. You need more time, more experience, more clarity. You convince yourself that you'll take the next step when the stars align, when you feel confident, when someone else goes first. But what you don't realize is that the longer you wait, the more power you give away. Waiting is safe. Walking is risky. And that's why most people wait their entire lives, hoping for a sign that was never supposed to come. You don't need another sign. You need a decision, because waiting feels like preparation. But most of the time, it's fear wearing a mask. You're not stuck because you're unqualified. You're stuck because you're afraid to move without guarantees. But there are no guarantees. Not in growth, not in change, not in chasing something bigger than what you've known. Walking into your purpose will always feel like walking into fog. But step by step, the path clears, not before you move, but because you move. You can't discover your strength from the sidelines. You can't build confidence while hiding. You can't rewrite your story if you're still reading the old chapter over and over, waiting for something to magically change. Nothing changes until you do. No transformation happens without movement. No healing, no growth, no breakthrough. You've got to move. Even if your hands are shaking, even if your knees feel weak, even if your voice trembles when you speak your dream out loud for the first time. That's courage. That's power. And that's what will take you to the next level. You've waited long enough, waited for the timing to be right, waited for people to support you, waited for fear to go away. But fear doesn't disappear. You just get stronger. Every step you take, even in fear, weakens the grip it has on you. The most dangerous thing isn't failing. It's standing still year after year, watching your potential rot in the name of being practical, polite, or patient. Life doesn't reward the ones who waited the longest. It rewards the ones who moved when it didn't make sense, who walked when everyone else was sitting still. Don't confuse waiting with wisdom. Some people wait so long they forget they were supposed to move. They turn hesitation into a lifestyle. They build a routine around their fears and call it reality. But deep down, there's a voice, small but steady, that says, let's go. That voice is not reckless. It's not desperate. It's the real you, trying to rise, trying to breathe, trying to break free from the grip of delay. And every day you ignore that voice, you dim your own light. You don't have to know every step. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start walking. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. Momentum creates answers that standing still never will. Action is how you tell life you're serious. Action is how you tell life you're serious. You'll make mistakes. That's part of it. You'll stumble. That's expected. But every time you move, you grow. Every time you move, you separate yourself from the crowd. The crowd waits. The leaders walk. You're not late. You're just at the edge. And on the edge, you have two choices. Wait and wonder what could have been, or walk and find out what's waiting for you on the other side of fear. We've all been there, telling ourselves why we can't do something right now, why it's not the right time, why we're too tired, too broke, too inexperienced. And those reasons, they sound smart. They sound logical. They sound valid, because excuses don't show up screaming, I'm fear or I'm self-doubt. No, they dress up in language that makes you feel safe. They sound like protection. They sound like wisdom, but they're not. They're cages. Excuses give you a way out. They give you a soft place to land when you don't want to feel the sting of failure or the pressure of expectations. But here's the thing. No excuse, no matter how polished, ever produced a result. No excuse ever built a legacy. No excuse ever turned a dream into reality. You can have reasons or results, but you can't have both. At some point, you've got to choose which one matters. Every time you repeat your excuse, you reinforce a limitation that was never meant to define you. You build a wall between where you are and where you say you want to go. And over time, those walls become your world. You start believing your story. I'm just not that kind of person. People like me don't succeed. It's too late for me. But those aren't facts. They're decisions. Stories you've told yourself so often, they feel real. It's not that your excuses are wrong. It's that they're irrelevant when you want results. You might really be tired. You might really have less time or fewer resources. But guess what? Someone out there with less is doing more. Someone with more obstacles is still moving forward. And it's not because they're special. It's because they made a choice to stop letting their story be the ceiling of their future. Excuses are emotional comfort food. They feel good in the moment, but they keep you stuck. Results demand discomfort. They demand that you show up when it's hard, when you're scared, when you're uncertain. They demand that you rise above your old patterns, your limiting beliefs, your fear of looking foolish, because results don't care how you feel. They only respond to what you want the body, the business, the confidence, the freedom, then you've got to trade your excuses for execution. That means less talking, more doing, less explaining, more action, less waiting, more deciding. People will understand your excuses. They'll even agree with them. But understand this, agreement doesn't equal progress. You don't need a support group for your excuses. You need a strategy for your goals. You've tried the path of least resistance. You've tried playing it safe, staying small, staying comfortable. And where has it gotten you? If you're tired of the cycle, tired of the results you're not getting, then it's time to disrupt your own excuses. Time to interrupt the inner dialogue that says, not now, and replace it with let's go. Time to call yourself out with love, but with firmness, because you weren't born to live on repeat. You already know what you want. And deep down, you know what's in the way. Not life, not people, not lack of opportunity, but the lies you've told yourself about why you can't. You want more? Then demand more from yourself. Raise the standard, raise the discipline, raise the expectation. Because when results matter more than excuses, everything changes. You start showing up different. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop giving average the benefit of the doubt. And you start building something real. There's a moment in every person's life when the noise around them fades and they're left face to face with their own reflection. Not the version filtered through other people's opinions, not the version shaped by past mistakes or limitations, but the raw, honest version, the version that knows the truth, the version that whispers, you're capable of more. The question is, will you listen? Will you finally show up for yourself like you've shown up for everyone else? You've spent enough time showing up for people who didn't see your worth. You've carried other people's burdens, fought other people's battles, believed in other people's dreams. And while there's beauty in being there for others, there's danger in abandoning yourself in the process. You've pushed your own needs, your own goals, your own greatness to the back of the line. You've said one day, maybe later, after everyone else is okay. But what about you? What about your vision, your healing, your calling? This is your time. Not when things are perfect. Not when you feel fully prepared. Not when all the doubts disappear. Now, because now is all you truly have. And showing up doesn't mean being fearless. It means being willing. Willing to try. Willing to fall. Willing to keep going when nobody claps. When nobody texts to check in. When nobody notices your quiet progress. Showing up means betting on yourself even when the odds feel stacked against you. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone your invisibility. You don't have to shrink so others feel comfortable. You don't have to wait for approval to live loud, love deep, lead strong. Showing up for yourself is not selfish. It's necessary because no one else can do it for you. No one else can chase your dream, face your fears, carry your pain, or walk your path. That's on you. And you're strong enough to do it. You've always been strong enough even when you forgot. There's something inside you that refuses to die, no matter how many times life tried to break you. That spark, that's not accidental. That's purpose. Trying to survive beneath the weight of your excuses, distractions, and doubt. That's the part of you that still believes. That part deserves a chance, not just in thought, but in action, in real, committed, unstoppable action. The world doesn't need another person living on autopilot. The world needs you, fully alive, fully present, fully engaged. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for someone to remind you how valuable you are. Stop waiting for the schedule to open, the fear to fade, the pain to heal. Healing happens when you move. Growth happens when you move. Power happens when you move. Movement is the proof that you finally decided to matter to yourself. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to show up and refuse to quit. There will be days you want to quit, days you question everything. That's normal. But those are the days that matter most. Not the easy days, not the highlight reel, the hard days, the lonely days, the get up anyway days. That's where you build something real. That's where you earn your confidence. That's where you become undeniable. Not because life gave you everything, but because you refuse to stay down. You were not born to blend in. You were born to break molds, to lift others by lifting yourself, to walk in rooms with a presence that says, I know who I am. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. You need to be committed. You need to show up again and again and again until your actions echo louder than your feet.